the two on points we have you for today. Manipur is on edge again with fresh violence in Ukhrul, signaling a dangerous shift beyond the Meitei Kuki conflict. We discussed the CSO conundrum in all of this. Modi-Mamata lock horns in the Battle of Bengal, historic turnout being claimed by both as an indicator of victory. And on point 2, we decode the nitty-gritty of elections. And now let's take a quick look at the headlines. In a major blow to Aam Aadmi Party, 7 MPs including Raghav Chadda and Ashok Mittal joined BJP in the presence of party President Nitin Nabin. Major setback to Pawan Khera as Guwahati High Court denies anticipatory bail plea, says Khera dragged innocent lady into controversy. US Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says naval blockade of Iranian ports to continue, as blockade is benefiting Europe and Asia, says Iran has a historic chance to make a deal. FIFA World Cup final ticket resale stuns fans. Most expensive seat worth luxury home in Mumbai. 4 costliest tickets for the final list are listed at 2.3 million each, nearly 20 crore rupees per seat. Let's start with Manipur. As I said, this is around point 1. Manipur's fragile ethnic balance is under strain again, with fault lines now widening beyond the valley-hill divide. For nearly 3 years, the conflict remained largely between Meitei and Kuki group, but fresh reports from Ukhrul point to a direct escalation between Tangkhul Naga groups and Kuki villagers, a significant shift that has taken place. A predawn attack on the Mulam Kuki village has left houses burnt and civilians injured. Drawing the Naga community deeper into the crisis. Manipur now risks a multi-front tussle, putting the government under pressure. We also decode the Manipur CSO conundrum. What's driving the escalation and can it be contained? The pictures you saw are of the bodies that the Meitei groups have claimed. The pictures you see today is of the attack which took place. So these are two different pictures. This is of a different event. The one which is being shown earlier is of the incident I am talking about, which is of the attack. Yes, the house is burned, civilians injured. The predawn attack has been reported from Mulam Kuki village in Ukhrul district. Multiple houses were set on fire, several civilians have been injured, with at least 2 reported to be in serious condition. Since 2023, violence in Manipur has largely been between Meitei and Kuki groups. However, recent developments have directly impacted Naga communities, drawing them into a conflict space. The killing of 2 Naga civilians earlier this month triggered widespread anger. The UNC Council responded with a shutdown call and urged the suspension of ties with Kukis. This marks a clear shift from the position of non-interference to active mobilization. The current escalation did not happen in isolation. Over the past few months, multiple flashpoints have emerged in various areas: abductions, killings, the camps being attacked. Now, clashes were reported as recently as April 21 during a shutdown enforced by the Naga group. As far as today's attack is concerned, the incident took place around 5:30 am in the Mulam Kuki district. Now, the reports indicate that armed group targeted these houses. On top of it, the larger issue is that there has been no attempt by the civil society groups to get the people together. Now, for example, foothills-based organization have announced a bandh in the protest. The Naga majority areas has sometimes also gone under the some sort of a bandh. Now, what is this raising the concern about? The concern is that this disrupts normal life, disrupts to and fro of people. The protest takes place in Imphal very regularly. Mera Paibis have been organized on streets. Kokomi has been organized on street. Now, on top of it, certain Naga groups have also come out. So, instead of stabilizing over a period of time, the situation remains as uncertain as it was. And the civil society agencies have not played the role which people expect that they should be playing in a charged atmosphere. Now, let me introduce my guest, Major General Sudhakarji. I am also joined by Group Captain B. Nandakumar Sharma, social activist Hejang Misao and Bijesh Pandey, input editor News9. Let's just put this in perspective. First to you, Misao, what happened today? And then I'll introduce my other guests.
Thanks, Kartikeya, once again for this. So, what is happening today is very disturbing and also very unfortunate. But for the sake of the viewer to understand how things unfold, I would also like to give some background history on how things happen. In fact, on 7th February, there was a scuffle between two intoxicated men. One belongs to the Tangkhul Naga and the other belongs to the Thadau Kuki. And that intoxicated scuffle between the two individuals, which can be solved through customary laws, unfortunately was communalized, and then that also with the presence of the CSO from both sides, they couldn't find any type of solution, and in the presence of SP and DIG, they cannot come into terms. And then unfortunately on that very night, on 8th of February, the Tangkhul community, out of anger, they started burning the house of the Kuki in Litan Sarekong, and the retaliation takes place from the other community. And then, burning of houses takes place, and then the next was like the two Kuki men on 12 March were killed when they went for repairing the water supply pipes. And that two innocent civilians, the Kuki, killed in their attempt to repair the pipelines. There was angers in the other community, and unfortunately, just a couple of days back, there was ambush on the civilian who were passing through the national highway, and another two Tangkhul civilians were killed.
Okay, so because this program is watched all over India, I appreciate that you have been able to localize it. Misao, my question is, why are small things flaring up into such big issues?
That's what I would like to come into, because and one of the most saddest part of Manipur is ethnocentrism. Ethnocentrism has taken over humanity. Ethnicity has taken over humanity. So one small incident is always communalized. One small incident is always turned into a communal flame. And rather than looking from the humanity perspective, someone is always looking at ethnic lens. That is the reason why people are always taking one small issue into such big scale, which resulted into unfortunate incidents like what's happening today, where the Tangkhul militants attacking the Kuki village and burning the houses, and two lives were lost, and 8 innocent villagers were seriously injured today. This is something that is very unfortunate.
Okay, so let me go across to Nandakumar Sharma. Mr. Sharma, why are small issues becoming so big? Why are people still, coming onto the streets? The protests are being organized. The Kokumi does, then the Mera Paibi does. Why is this happening? Why has this restarted? What is your assessment? Are people instigating it?
Kartikeya very nicely brought out. It shows the lack of, lack of control over the law and order by the administration. Overall, it is the main reason, because the law and order is to be maintained by the state in case of state ruled by democratically elected party, like the way it's happening in Manipur. Or if it is a president's rules, it lies with the central government under the presidents. So here the execution of the law and order or enforcement of law and order appears very weak for last 3 years. The two CM, we have seen it earlier, Mr. Biren Singh and now Mr. Khemchan Singh, and in between we have seen a governor on behalf of the government of India who are supposed to handle the affairs of the Manipur, but all of them fail. It shows that they have no control over the enforcing of law and order. What it means? Either it means it's a neglect for the people of this geographical location, which is contained in say about 22,000 square kilometers, and just lack of concern about the people living there, irrespective of the communities. And also The law and order laid down by the constitution and democratic rules as per the existing Indian constitution, they are not applied properly. I have been saying it openly, and once again I would like to quote that suspension of operation, such agreement allows certain group of people, certain arms group of people to use the arms the way they want. So it gives a differentiation, or they are more privileged in the eyes of the law. So if, as long as such discrimination or such privilege exists, the law cannot, the law enforcers cannot see or treat everybody equally. So this will happen, and people have seen it. We have seen it, the killing of innocent civilians. I will not consider here the encounter happening between the two arms groups, but I will specifically bring out the civilian casualties in all the communities, let it be Meitei, Naga or Kuki or other communities. So civilian suffering is not acceptable as per the existing law.
Okay, very nice.
It shows that there is lack of control over the enforcing agencies.
Okay, very nicely put. Brijesh.
Well, I think, the ethnic, as I've been saying, in the last couple of shows as well, Kartike, the ethnicity of it has become, has prevailed over the single identity of Manipuri. Now it is neatly divided between Kuki, Zo community, Meiteis and Nagas. Other than that, and it is, this flaring up is continuously fueled by CSOs, as nobody is making a serious attempt to calm the temperature down. Nobody is making that kind of effort. It's not visible there. The most important thing is, as Captain Sharma was saying, is that the state has no clue. The administration has no clue of how to deal with the situation. They are devising piecemeal initiatives which is not resulting into a long-lasting or even a short-term lasting solution to this situation which is unfolding. Now this new drawn battle between the Kuki group and the Naga group, given the kind of history they had, is an extremely worrisome situation which is unfolding.
Okay, let me ask this question point blank to General Sudhakarji. Sir, I'm not trying to malign anyone, why are CSOs articulating Kuki, Meitei, Naga, or CSO? I will not use the ethnic name. I have decided today. I'm not going to. These CSO articulating the positions of those groups which are acknowledged either as underground or militant, or those who operate beyond the pale of law, and people, in the eyes of the people, are armed. Yeah. Why are these CSOs actually articulating those lines? I'm not going to even name those groups and the CSOs. Everyone understand what I'm talking about, and it cuts across ethnic lines.
Karthike, good evening. Thank you for inviting me for your show, and my wholehearted compliments to you and your channel. I have been getting a lot of complimentary acknowledgement and messages from friends from overseas about your channel, the expertise, and very professional analysis you have been carrying out. Now, coming straight to the question. Firstly, my compliments to all the distinguished co-panelists. They deserve to have the last say, but since I have served in the area and I have been joining the dots, I would say, before I respond to your question in specific, there is a bigger game in play. The bigger game is to be seen from the lens of perspective of keeping India destabilized. In multiple channels, although I have become very selective these days, and platforms, I have gone on record to say there is an external force which is deliberately trying to trigger these kind of disturbances and turbulence. And external force, a lot of people say Chinese, the United Front Works Department, a lot of people say CIA. I don't have any evidence with me, but I know for sure they are being deliberately triggered to keep this particular axis disturbed so that the Act East policy of India gets absolutely aborted. It's an axis joining India, Myanmar and Bangkok, Thailand, 1700 kilometers. I think 75 to 80% of the distance is already done. It's a distance of about 170, 180 kilometers yet to be completed. If that is completed, India will have on-ground physical connectivity with Southeast Asia, and it will have a lot of ramifications which time will not permit. But let me first of all come to the core issue. Core issue is that people have to understand that the valley, Manipur Valley, those of you who have been on ground, they would understand better, but there are viewers who need to understand the valley is actually west-east aligned. And some of them are north-south, but majorly it is aligned from west to east. And there are hill features to the south and hill features to the north. The hill features to the south are predominated, inhabited by Kukizos, and to the north are actually Nagas. The percentage, although I am covering the basics for better understanding by our viewers, the Meiteis are approximately 52.9, 53%. Kukizos are around 16 to 17%. And Nagas are around 20%. These are the three major tribes.
Okay.
Now, somebody mentioned about suspension of operation. I do endorse. Manipur government, I think, has pulled out in 2023, if I am not wrong.
Sir.
And having pulled out, the basic issue which is actually coming to the fore is that I also, as a military man, I am debarred and prohibited from taking reference of religion. But unfortunately, if you don't call out, if you don't call spade a spade, then you are not doing justice to the subject.
Okay, can you quickly come to the point, sir?
Yeah, there are Nagas to the north, there are Kukis to the south.
Sir.
Without meaning any kind of, ill feelings at anyone, there is a force which is actually manipulating the sentiments and the emotions of both the groups, because the tribal facilities are actually biased towards Kukis and not so much to the Nagas. I may be wrong, please correct me.
Okay.
The Meiteis have been demanding the scheduled tribes status, which...
Okay, I'll come to that. Okay, because I need to go to Professor also. There's a time, there's also a time.
Please.
Yes, Professor Biswas.
Correct. Yeah, please. You can ask me a question, or I.
Oh, no. My question to you remains the same. Why are these
Okay.
CSOs? This is the debate is the CSO conundrum. Why do they articulate hardline positions?
Actually, you can see these are civil society groups by their very definition. Now, when does a civil society group get active? When they see that their ordinary populace have a certain issue and a political issue, in the case of Manipur, the precedent background of violence, the kind of mayhem, the kind of torture, the gory, barbaric act of death, and all kinds of cruelties that have happened, has actually created a deep sense of injury and wound in the minds of the ordinary people.
Let me just
So,
add
so
something
Kuki
to you, Professor.
CSOs, coming to the
I did
point,
a show.
Kuki-
I'm not going to name my panelists. Arambai Tengol took out a press release.
Yeah.
They took out a press release. I mean, so they can take out a press release. I have no issue. It's a democratic country, but I understand the context. There was a press release.
Yeah, press releases by so many CSOs, not just one. UNC also has, Kuki Joe Council has, Kuki INPI has. Everyone
You
has
were in the
put forth
discussion
their
now.
perspective on the table for the recent violence. And especially the visuals like cutting the pipeline, and then at night there is a certain kind of attack. All these actually triggers a kind of a sense of, resistance or revenge or whatever. Now, the situation is such that the security forces is finding it very tough to manage. The central security forces, the state security forces, the state government have to go to the affected area and really have to create a situation of calm without really using strong arm tactic. They should be persuasive enough so that CSOs also understand their role and responsibility. So a different kind of a role and responsibility needs to be created in the environment. And who will do this task? It is the government, once again responsible, leading persons from various societies, various ethnic groups must come forward. And they should really see that violence doesn't recur. It must come to a halt by that initiative. So an initiative really needs to be taken. It cannot be left in the blank. That's what
Initiative. Brijesh, just to take you back, I've been told that there's a possibility that someone from BJP, a very tall leader, might form a party in Manipur, and he's been campaigning in Delhi for, I don't know, again want to take name. in Delhi for last 3 to 4 days, a very tall BJP leader who came from a different party and then joined BJP.
He's likely to, and I think,
likely to.
See, basically, there was a political abdication also. When the crisis started, people knew that why this crisis was going on. People also understood that if the central government would have acted, when we were told that there's a president rule imposed, later on it was denied and so many things, if they were acted with the kind of, importance with which it was attached, things would have been completely different. But it did not. It allowed the situation to simmer and literally run out of control. Now what you're seeing is the post facto situation of that abdication of responsibility by the government. All kind of blames were leveled against forces also, and this was the reason, and the abdication continues. For other than, the PR stunts and the PR messaging, I don't see government doing much about it. And it's an extremely sorry state of affairs. And the CSOs which you're talking about seems to be running with far more better authority of their ethnicity than the government.
I think assembly election is going to be fun if there's if the gentleman forms the third party. Misao, okay, that was a political question to Brijesh. But Misao, my question to you is that all three segments, all I get to see is very hard statements from CSOs. It's like as if the departments of I don't think even the departments of the Manipur government have released that much of press notes than the CEOs of Manipur have done it in last 3 years. I can vouch for it, Ms. How.
Kartike, I would also I am also on the same page with you. Manipur, one of the big problem is the self-styled leaders who comes out for the cause of the community, calling themselves the champion of the community's cause, with their own revolutionary philosophy, coming up with the political rhetoric, and also with their own philosophy under which they brainwash their own community, where their action leads into communal mindset in each community with partisan approach, leading into that kind of poisonous narrative where one particular community call another particular community as refugee, illegal immigrant, or this and that. So in the fight for a true citizens or the owner of the land, where the self-styled leader has already poisoned the minds of their own people, this mindset has engulfed the mind of every people, for which if anything happens, it always turns into communal. The second part is it's CSO, which must have a strong democratic values, fails to also put into practice such democratic values, and in one form or the other, the CSO have the alignment with their own militant group, who are also
own militant group. Yes, yeah. That is this alignment. Yes,
the one fighting
own
for
militant
their
group.
Community.
That's the
So
word.
that is the
Whether valley or whether hill area, that is the issue. That the alignment exists. It is not spoken from the context of the people. It is spoken from the context of the alignment. I completely agree with you. Mr. Sharma.
Yes, Kartike, I have some difference in opinion in this regard.
It's okay.
Why a civilian or a CSO?
I am not running a pathshala here.
No, I am not saying that, because there is no option. When there is no option left, then the civilians or the people are to go to a safer side. If you recall the Chanakya and Amadhya's discussion during his writing of his Arthashastra, there was a discussion then when people are not having any, say, scope for getting, say, relief or, say, justice, then people revolt. And this is the only option to change. So this maybe, I do not say completely it is absolutely happening in this way, but partly it's correct. So when you don't have when other party is bashing you and the lawmakers, the protectors, they are not helping you, then it's better to go to a gun and seek shelter if he is ready to help you out without harming you. Later on, he may take some advantage. That's definitely.
But sir, if everyone becomes a vigilante,
yeah.
Kumarji,
So
if everyone becomes a vigilante, then
It's there is nothing wrong in such situation in say very volatile situation.
But
like
what you're
this.
saying is
However,
it shows us that there is a collapse of the administrative machinery. I mean to say,
absolutely,
अगर थाने जाके अगर आप गुंडे के पास जाएंगे,
there is a
तो
collapse of the
it is,
machinery.
अगर थाने जाके आप
Yes,
थाने की जगह
absolutely.
गुंडे जाएंगे, तो it's a reflection on थाना. It's not a reflection on gunda.
Yeah, absolutely. Not doing that. Law protectors, the law enforcers, they are not doing. The General Saab has mentioned about the suspension operation in 2023. It's a tri-party this thing, and the Manipur government has withdrawn. But India government kept silent. And if you see the annual report of Ministry of Home Affairs, still payments
It's
are
union
on. It is
government.
there in
I
public.
just don't understand why do people say India government? It's a union government.
Yeah,
There's
union
nothing called India
sir,
government. It's a
correct
union
me.
government.
Yeah, union government. So correct
Yes.
me if I'm wrong. It's say some sort
I
of
say
mistakes happened from
you're
my
a
side.
form
Okay.
of for force guy. I mean to say union government.
Yeah, it's a union government. See, MHA has in black and white. It is there. The payments are there to the sub groups of the Kuki. So you cannot say that the Manipur government withdraws. So union government of India kept silent, but still payments are on. So
Okay,
on
so
ground,
central government.
The government enters.
things are not good.
Okay, Professor, Misa, wait a minute.
Kartikeya, my final point is the fault is with the law enforcers. So the law enforcers, whoever it is their weakness. Kartikeya.
No, okay, we will distinguish it. Law enforcers, there are a lot of things. I think we should hold political masters to account. You know, we have been holding people who are executing to account, and they are the one who are actually doing the job, facing the bullet, facing the brunt. Professor, then I'll go to General.
Yeah, I want to say there is no way to justify these acts of violence by saying that I can go to this violent actor
Absolutely,
or that
I
violent
disagree.
actor.
Yes, with
that
it,
will be totally wrong.
Yes.
I didn't expect this to from our friend Sharmaji. So anyway, I would
Professor,
simply
I
say
didn't
that
justify violence. I just
it's okay.
comment.
You don't have to give an apology or justification. I don't want you to do that. But my comment is that you could have avoided that comment that much, nothing more than that. So what I want to
I
say
agree
more
with you.
substantially,
There is no justification for violence. It's
Yes.
period. It's an ethical position.
More substantially, Kartikeya, the issue is that union government has entered into certain kinds of agreements, and these agreements are political in nature, and much of the agreements have yielded whatever semblance of peace we have in Manipur. Agreement with Nagas, for example, 15-point agreement, is a document that has created a sense of peace. Agreement and discussion that is going on with Kuki groups has also created a sense of peace. Similarly, agreement with UNLF and other Meitei groups has also created a sense of peace. Now, we have to really give credit to the central government for attempting very sincerely to bring peace in Northeast India and also in Manipur. Now, in this perspective, those of us who are falling into the trap of fighting with each other, we should look within, introspect, and we should not be fighting with each other. That kind of an ethical restraint we must exercise.
You know, people forget the bigger picture here. General Sudhakar ji, if you look at a country, connectivity is a very important part. Today, you know, the entire Chabahar project is dead. That was the Chabahar, Dilanj, Kabul, Central Asia highway, it's dead. The Kaladan project, Manipur was chosen for it, the More border. You know, I think more than 7 years ago, I drove from Imphal to More border, went to Tamu, had beer and fish and came back the same day. Same day. I wanted to see what, you know, this look east, act east, India would look like. The whole idea was, can I drive from Imphal to More to Bangkok and then drive all the way to Hanoi? That was the idea of the Kaladan project. That connectivity is also lost. From the strategic point of view, it is such a great loss to our country.
Yes. Kartikeya, you finished? Can I comment?
Yes, sir.
Firstly, compliments. You have actually put your finger on an issue which has got very strategic importance and relevance. But allow me to compliment Professor Biswas for having highlighted certain issues, and I'll be doing great disservice to my fraternity if I don't acknowledge what Group Captain Sharma has actually articulated. So while on one hand I do compliment him and Professor Biswas as also Hizang, he's an accomplished social activist, the fact of the matter remains that whatever is happening in Manipur today has got a direct and indirect bearing with whatever is panning out in Myanmar. This has to be understood from a holistic, from a comprehensive perspective. What we call as Tatmadaw. Tatmadaw is the military of Myanmar. It is dominated, rather I would say it is a representation of Meitei across the border. Okay, because I don't want to get into the nitty-gritties, it will unnecessarily lead us to something which you as the chief editor and anchor has been trying to avoid. So there is a group of 26 ethnic tribes. Tatmadaw is hunting for them in Myanmar. And this group of 26 tribes in Myanmar, they're in self-defense. Some of them have come across the border under that FMR rule and etc. etc. Basically, I tend to agree with what Group Captain Sharma has been repeatedly trying to make the point. I also agree with Professor because the central government has to be complemented. Those of us who have not climbed or scaled the mountains and not passed through the jungles of Manipur will not be able to understand. It's very easy to talk on TV channels and give comments, but unless I have done patrolling as a young officer in that area, it is very, very difficult, and the visibility is poor. In broad daylight itself, you cannot see who's moving where. So what is actually essentially I'm trying to highlight is there is a free flow of illegal arms. There is also drugs which are free flowing. There are forces inimical to India's interest who are there in Manipur to subvert the minds of the people of inter-religious and create an inter-religion kind of a friction. It is already on, and therefore we should not be alarmed by all these factors. But the point that you are making about the strategic issue is, yes, I tend to agree with you, because the India people do not want India to grow out of its size and gallop at a speed which is going to be highly make the accomplished parts in the world very, very insecure. What is India to China and China is to USA, as also USA has gone absolutely, I think, public. The Deputy Secretary of State Department, who was in Raisina dialogue a couple of days back, he made a statement, USA at no cost will allow India to become a second China.
Yes.
If this were being openly stated
absolutely
by a superpower, then I would hold back my comments. What more do you want? The CIA is deeply involved.
Absolutely. Miss Howe, you wanted to come in?
Intersection of three spheres. One is the American, the second is the Chinese, and the third, unfortunately, whether you agree or not, it's a spillover from Bangladesh taking place. The Islamic fundamentalism has started showing itself.
Done, sir. Miss Howe, you wanted to come in?
Kartike, I would like to throw this message to every people in Manipur. The feeling of that communal feeling has to be done away. The importance of humanity has to be stressed by everyone, and coexistence is the only way through which we have to also better this Manipur. And then the CSOs should not be with their own political agenda. Rather, the CSOs should work in their own.
Miss Howe, this is one state for the first time in my Brijesh, you would bear with me, where even the security forces were seen from different lenses.
Oh, absolutely.
No, Kartike, I will come to that. But I think it's very, very disheartening to see lots of visual where the Meitei Paibis and the Tangkhul women are also frisking the Indian forces. So this is tantamount to discrediting their service. I think every Indian should come out and condemn on how we treat our forces in Manipur, especially by the Tangkhul women and the Meitei Paibis in mostly the valleys. I think when you're discrediting the service of our forces, I think our nation is in troubles. Our nation is in problems. So I think I will also reach out to, the women folk. Please respect our forces. They've been giving the time, the life to safeguard our country. At the same time, when you are discrediting, I think you are not. I would say you are not part of Indian Union. if you are not part Indian United, you better spell it out.
Okay. Mr. Sharma. Mr. Sharma.
I disagree with Mr. Hazang. He has mentioned specifically Meitei and Tangkhul discrediting the Indian Armed Forces. Absolutely wrong, false. It's happened all where even the Kukis also did the same thing. While mistrust is there, such small things may happen. At the same time, listen to me, at the same time, Kuki arms group had problem with the Karvi in Assam. Kuki had problem with the Nagas earlier. Kuki had a problem with Meiteis. Kuki had a problem with Tamils in More.
They have problem with the Nagas first. They have problem with the Pangam, the Muslim. They have a problem with the Kukis. You are also having the same problem with every community.
Let's not come back to Tutu Meme. Please do not.
Misao.
They first have problem with the Nepali. They have problem with
Misao, देखो, I'll interrupt it. Misao, मैं mute कर दूंगा आपको. Mr. Sharma. No, this case, I will not allow this. No, Misa, you will get the time to speak. Let him speak.
Yeah, continuing, Kartikeya, it's unfortunate, but we should not talk like discrediting the armed forces. I am from Meitei community, and there are many officers presently retired. Jawan from the Naga was killed. Tangkhul was killed, a victim of the insurgent armed groups, and a BSF family recently had lost his young children. So people are suffering. So let's not talk about a particular thing. We should fight that arms groups, and the civilian casualties should be avoided as far as possible. And the administration should try to solve and minimize the casualties towards the civilians. And also, Kartikeya, I would like to put one more point. Yeah, it's good that the policies as a political solutions India government is bringing and having talks with different armed groups. But at what cost? These armed groups would be maximum at 15,000, 20,000, 30,000. Take it, not more than 30,000 armed groups in all the communities. And what price the civilians are paying? You see in Dimapur, the Gunda tax collection is just next to the security forces. And you know, the cost of a bundle of a pan, which is less than about 100 a kg, it costs 3,000 in West Bengal. And it comes up to Guwahati, say about 500 rupees. And from Guwahati to Manipur, it's 25,000. See, this is the brunt we are paying for this agreement.
I know, I have done this discussion a lot of time. I know this is something which is very, very, very debatable, sort of a hot issue. But let me tell you, we will restart this series. We'll be doing it this more often. Thank you, all of you. Time was for half an hour. I have almost done it for 40 minutes. For joining me, Manipur remains something very close to News9, and we have not let go of this issue. Thank you, all of you, for joining me. It's time for a short break, and after this break, we're going to talk about something which is very close to our heart also, and that is West Bengal elections.